welcome to the Game Collector. Or should I say the Switchmania Playcast? Or should I say the Premium Playcast? Who's to say? So, you're gonna notice, for those of you that have been longtime subscribers to the podcast, we said name change, but literally still talking video game collecting. I'm Jeffrey Hagens, still here, and I'm with
Tristan Ibarra.
And so Tristan and I, we've been doing video game bullshit for a while, and basically, doing the year end of the podcasts. And I was like, man, this got a lot of people here still checking out the old school Playcast. But the thing with the Playcast was it was always about Nintendo Switch collecting and retro game collecting. So I'm like, hey, Tristan, do you want to just talk about all the stuff that we always talk about at the beginning of every bullshit, like the collecting stuff? And let's make this collecting. And then we do the Switchmania portion and we talk about what the hell's coming out for the Switch. And then maybe our thoughts with the Switch 2 inevitably having details in the year of 2025.
Yes. Well, yeah, I mean, we're always talking about what's coming up and what's out there. And there's just so much that, we're inundated with gaming stuff. So
yeah,
just to have one place to talk about it and bring it all together. Yeah, it only made sense. And there's just so much more to talk about than the Switch right now. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, us being retro gamers, like VGBS ain't going away. It's focused entirely old school style, just on retro, just like it should be. And then this will be just collecting and all the cool stories. And, Tristan and I, we are fully focused, making crazy ass books still, as always. We'll talk some updates here in this episode, including what's going on with some of the retro books. That Switch collector book that everybody on this podcast totally on Gear 3. We talk a little bit about that. Also, like we said, what's coming out, but also what is out right now and cool stuff that we've gotten over the last, month or so. And, just overall cool shit. And the thing is, we changed the name because we've had a couple name changes. Tristan and I are still involved, still doing design work for Premium. I don't own the company, just, but we definitely work on cool stuff, making cool stuff, especially them strategy guys. Them strategy guys are really fun.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and then, we're always working on our own projects as part of, Jeff's publishing arm, Hagens Alley Entertainment. And both of us, we consider ourselves gaming historians. Yeah, we're collectors. We've been collectors our entire lives, but historians in the fact that, both of us have just done so much research to do our books that, as a byproduct, we just don't know all this stuff, and we just kind of want to share what we come across. And this is the perfect outlet for it.
I mean, really, I used to have it on my old YouTube channel. I'm really just OCD, brother. That's I used to, one of my old, on my YouTube channel is called the OCD Collector. Really, I just got a little bit of OCD where it brings me solace to create lists of things. And
well, yeah, dude, in every day or every week I come across something that I didn't know is coming out, or new things, and I'm always sharing it with Facebook friends and Instagram, and you're one of the first people that I reach out to. But I want to tell everybody about this stuff. Everyone needs to know, especially about that card, that set of cards that
oh my god
flew under the radar that we'll talk about a little bit.
And the fact is if you're a retro collector and you didn't know about these cards, like I didn't, holy cow, they're so freaking cool. They're the coolest thing ever, to the point where OCD me wants a set now, and there's it's dangerous as hell, man. Then there's retro magazines out there. There's a retro zine that I don't even know if you're tracking. I am. Some crazy shit. I got copies of it right here. It's there's some stuff. You got homebrew games that are part of Lego sets now. Craziness that we got to talk about. See? I get.
Yeah, see, I'm learning this stuff. We don't share this stuff ahead of time, so a lot of this is going to be a surprise to me, and a lot of this is going to be a surprise to Jeff as well. That's half the
Absolutely. The only way we'll have it. And it's just it'll be a good time. And be sure, as always, like the Playcast crew has always been great about chatting and telling their opinions. What do you want to see us talk about from a collector perspective? Because like we're gonna go through and we're gonna talk, about what's going on and the newest releases, but we're gonna do it in our way, in our sense. So if you want something specific, you let us know, comment, leave us voicemails, because the voicemails on Anchors and everything still work. You can leave us one in Discord. You can leave us one in emails, everywhere. So definitely hit us up. And just so you know, too, I know some of y'all are listening to this, but on the Spotify app, you can watch our asses too. You can watch us talk because it does video now. So this
people can see me. Oh no,
people can see us. Because like YouTube is like I may not even put this on YouTube. I may just keep it straight in there. But one of the biggest things that has happened recently, first and foremost, is what for 2025 is that I have reinvigorated the Hagens Alley Patreon for the first time in 8 years.
oh man.
Yeah, and so I've had people, because I'm going through and we're going to talk about pins and patches and all the craziness. When I reached out to them to get addresses to send out the free cool stuff, I asked people, hey, I've evolved over the years. What do you want to see? And there was a lot of people that said, hey, can you go back to doing all the cool stuff? Can you do all the cool stuff? Because like you did with Patreon, because I even did book releases on Patreon. Like the Video Game Culture Chronicles 90 and 91 were both released exclusively on Patreon.
Oh wow.
Like crazy stuff. So essentially on there, that's going to be one way, because Tristan and I, we got a lot of stuff going on, doing lots of projects, all these things.
Always.
Patreon is going to be one place where everything goes. There is a free tier. So if you just want to go on there just to keep up to date on all the different stuff that I got going on, that Tristan has going on, that, the indie stuff that I have is going on, it's all there. And you can just do the free tier. If you want to contribute to help support things, that's cool too. There's ones for there, and there's one that gets you physical stuff. There's a cool shit tier, and there's one which I put as an executive producer, which literally will have to say whatever name they put at the end of any podcast, YouTube channel, anything that I do. They also get a free exclusive book at the end of the year. I am going to do an exclusive book just for that tier. It's 10 people. That's a very limited book if there's only 10 people, and I will do it because I'm crazy. So right now, we have some people that have already joined it, and I'm working with Patreon because in 2017, I had it on a buy-release basis, which meant I released a cool-ass book. People got charged for the book, kind of like what we did. But they've removed that. Patreon can't do that anymore. They only do the monthly thing. So I've created a monthly thing. I've lowered the amounts to be reasonable. Like the sport ones, like I think they said you could do like $3. That's a cup of coffee. You can support everything that's happening. And what it really does help, it really helps the damn storage fees for these heavy ass books that Tristan and I make.
My God.
Because that shit. So if we get a huge following over on the Patreon and people are supporting, that will help our damn storage costs, and then we'll be inclined to make crazier books. But like right now, we just use the book sales and pay the storage fees. That's just how it works, man. But yeah, so the Patreon one is the big one. The other thing that's really cool is I have been working on revamping the Hagens Alley website, and that launched at the beginning of the year. It is clean, it is modernized, and it is streamlined.
I'm biased, but it looks good.
Yeah,
it looks really good.
And it's like, you can go there, you can view all the reviews. I was telling Tristan, I'm like, man, I don't think I have a whole lot of reviews because I never look. And I put him like, there's a ton. There's a lot of reviews. I appreciate everybody that gave a review. That's so cool. There is a wish list you can do. So you can click a little heart and you can actually add them to a wish list. So if you don't, if you want to wait and get a bunch of books, or you want to do something, you can create wish lists now. Also at the bottom, I haven't put it to the top yet in the actual menu, but at the bottom I created a bibliography, which that took me an entire day to research and figure out. And a lot of this I've been doing like my own code for it too, because I have a coding background, so I was doing my own little versions of the table. So if it's broken, let me know and I will try to fix it.
Well, Jeff, speaking of bibliography, you just hit a milestone as far as your books, right?
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, it was I think so when you talk bibliographies, you have hardcover, paperbacks, all that stuff. Each one's technically its own release. I am over now 30 different unique books.
That's great.
Now if you do unique titles, my upcoming one that I'm currently working on, that's a bonus book, is number 20 of unique titles with unique content. So we're at 20th title, which is insane. Like,
yeah, I'll get there someday, but it's going to take me a while to catch up. So just stop writing books for about, I'd say 10 years, and maybe I'll reach you.
Yeah, I'll just stop.
Just twiddle your thumbs or something. Play some games, dude.
Well, and I asked you, I'm like, do we count all the manuals and all the strategy guides?
But I mean, that's definitely part of your portfolio, right? I mean,
I did not. Yeah, so, but like the hardcover Robot Named Fight, it's over 100 pages.
Well, yeah, okay, so that I think I would count. That's a strategy guide, and that's a full book, dude.
Because the Pigeon Dev one was done by 8-Bit Steve. So, but I did a portion in the back, so that's like still part of like a portfolio, but I wasn't the true author of that one. But the Robot Named Fight one I had to do from the ground up, because 8-Bit Steve got too busy working on Jaws and crazy ass books that he does. So yeah, but super freaking crazy. Super crazy. But yeah, so that was a little bit about what's going on with the Hagen stuff, but I'm not normally going to talk about that stuff at the end of the episode. I'll be like, hey, check out the Patreon, support please. But we're not going to shill that crap at the beginning of every episode just because, we want you to talk about the cool stuff that we got. So should we talk about like cool stuff that we've gotten in?
Yeah, I think so, especially since this is right after Christmas. So both you and I know you sent me some stuff, and I've got a couple things to show off, and I sent you some things, and you got some stuff.
And I got a couple.
So, all right.
Yeah.
So you want to just take turns, or you can go first?
Well, I will show off the one that the background of those that are watching us like videos about, which is this thing that Tristan sent me, which is freaking insane. This right here is it says it's family, a computer family. And it has a bunch of characters from all different types, even anime and stuff. Now, Tristan sent this to me with a bunch of stuff in there, but the card set that this comes with is so freaking cool. Yeah. Like, literally, the first one I saw was Double Dragon 3, and I'm like, what the heck? And now, me being an encyclopedia of video games, I can't even figure out which one this is. Is it Crossfire? I think
it's Crossfire, yeah.
Which is an unreleased game in the U.S.
So it's a Famicom or family computer game.
Yeah. But yeah, like this stuff's cool, and there's 6 sets in the portion that Tristan sent me. 6 sets. Like these ones are character ones. So I got this guy as an open, which is Buffalo Man from Ultimate Muscle.
I love that game.
I do not, but I love the series. I'm actually watching
I actually play Muscle a lot, like as a kid. Well, it was one of the few games that I had, so I guess I was forced to play it. But
yeah,
I don't know.
But like, there's ones that are based on power-ups. There's this crazy ass Sonic, and there's a lot of foil and gloss. Like these things are rad. Like check this out. Like this is Contra, and the logo's foil. There's a little bit of a sheen, a rainbow sheen to the cards. And the cards are like
cards.
Yeah, and the cards are like thicker cardstock too. They're not like a thin trading card. They're like cardboardy things. And they got modern games too, but also like Neo Geo and Red Dead Redemption and like craziness. So I mean, it's fun.
I was actually wondering about the Red Dead Redemption thing too, and I was like, what is going on here? Apparently, and I looked this up, Famicom had a game called oh gosh, what was it? Gun. And it was the precursor to like Gun and Red Dead Redemption, Red Dead Revolver, and
yeah.
Like who the heck knew that? I didn't know that.
But here's one surprise, Tristan, for the episode that you weren't tracking. So this is the one you sent me. I bought a second one.
Oh, nice. Ooh, it's sealed.
Steel.
Yes,
Steel.
sir.
So I have no idea what is in it because I do know though that in these packs, for those of you that are interested in collecting these, they're all retro gaming and cool history of video games, which is right up our alley. It's fucking awesome. But there are two different color pack series. Tristan sent me a couple unopened ones from one of the series. I don't even know what's in the other ones outside of some cool shit that he sent me from one. That there was like this thick plastic little diorama, and it was Adventure Island 2, and you like create the level, and it makes like a 3D level on a card.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like what?
Yep.
What the hell's wrong with these people? It's so cool.
Do you want me to show you what else is possible to pull?
Absolutely.
So,
Let's see this.
Full disclosure, I have opened probably 80 boxes of these. I went a little
Holy shit.
and there's this other eBay seller who's also going through the entire set. Like he and I kind of like hooked up outside of eBay and have been trading back and hooked up. Anyway, but so this is one of the more rare ones. And so every single subset, when you open that box, he said yes, there's two different color packs. So you get 12 blue packs and you get one pink pack, which is a chase card. But there are several different kinds of chase cards, like I think 10 different kinds of chase cards that you can get, and each of them have 9 cards in the set.
I love this.
So it's insane.
So evil.
Yeah.
It's
So
evil.
you've got like this duck hunt card, which is like kind of shiny. You can't really see it on the camera, but I only pulled 2 of these out of 90 boxes.
Really?
And then you can also get booklets that like fold into a card and then have like art on the back.
Well, and as you can see right there, that's a Mario Galaxy.
And it's serial numbered.
And that's insane. And the thing is, so that Mario Galaxy one, if you show the back of it, that Mario stomping the turtle on the other side.
Oh, on the other side, yeah.
I have that on the interior on one of my books from the artist. So that's the bishop that's the artist.
Oh no, I guarantee it was ripped off. I guarantee. I was wondering about that artwork where it came from, but yeah.
Yeah, because I got one. I think it's the Nintendo Entertainment System Compendium. I used that piece in there. I just contact the artist, and usually they say it's pretty cool. Some like I commission new pieces from, some I just reach out to, but like that's crazy.
So here's another type of card that you can get. There's 9 of these. We mentioned lenticular, so this is a lenticular card of Mario like running through the stage.
Yeah.
You've got one that it's like the old school turning into the new school. So that's Ninja Gaiden 8-bit turning into his like modern self through a portal.
That's dope. That's cool as hell.
And then you have like as if he's a toy and like a blaster, that sort of thing. There's 9 of these. There's 9 of these. Like Sonic, old school and new school.
Well,
like
and the ones that you sent me, there's only 6 different sets.
Yeah, exactly. And these are all chase. The ones that I'm showing are all chase ones and can only come in those pink packs, which are 1 per box.
What the hell is wrong with these people? So you said there's 9 sets in those chase?
There are 9 different cards in every single subset.
And how many subsets are in the pink?
Like 10.
So you got 90 boxes if you got all unique ones to get.
Well, yeah, if you get like,
you got the.
Yeah, so it's damn near impossible to get an entire set, but I'm
pretty good. Well, you're down this damn rabbit. And I said I'll OCD one, and now Tristan's over here too.
So I'm working on a video game trading card compendium. That's one of my projects that I'm doing.
What is it?
So this is our research, Jeff. This is research.
It's for research. I love it. No, I'm doing this for me. Like I bought the box for me. I didn't realize how unattainable it's going to be to get the whole set.
Well, good news for you. I have a lot of extra ones, like the ones that you've seen right here. I'm probably going to send you, including this Battletoad clear.
Oh, that is cool as hell.
And then there's ones where they mash up 2 different series, like Contra and Mega Man, Rock Band in this case.
Yeah.
And there are 3 different puzzles to put together. So there's 9 panels and 3 puzzles. You get one puzzle piece per box.
No, I love it, dude. And so that's hilarious. But so the thing is, in our Patreon, and I will put this out there because I'm sure I'll get a couple doubles. In our Patreon, there is a cool shit tier. I think it's like $5 a month or something. If you do the cool shit tier where there's a physical item on there,
I 100% will send you some of these cards. Yes.
you will get some cards. The
In fact,
listeners of the game collector, you will get some cards.
This card right here that I'm about to show will go to a Patreon member in that tier. So, and it's out of 88. If you can see that, it is Mario looking down into the sewer at Raphael, who killed a piranha plant with a sigh.
That's awesome. He's pooping in the toilet.
But it's so crazy, dude.
You said
Like, this set is nuts.
Dude, that's probably the coolest set. Because you sent me some other ones, but I wasn't inclined to open them yet. But like that right there, it's retro gaming. It's Nintendo. Literally, it's cool as hell.
And like no one's heard of this stuff. And this is one of the reasons that you want to listen to this podcast, because Jeff and I dive into all this obscure crap that you'll never see before. And I have told Jeff about this. There's another set of Nintendo cards that's just Mario. It's called Hello Mario. This is a pack of cards. There's one card per pack.
Jesus.
And in every case of these cards, you will get
one.
Oh, not free for the bunch. But you get one of these cards, which is a booklet that opens up. And then you get something in it. So there's 3 different, like question blocks basically that you can get. And one per case of these cards.
Eesh.
So there's some cool stuff out there. This is called Hello Mario, this set.
And the thing is that like I've never been since I was when I was younger, but since I was younger, I haven't been a card collector, but I do like these type because it's right in what I collect. It's what I'm interested in. And that's cool.
I forgot one more of the pink card set. That's
more treats.
Yeah. So that's a Pac-Man like record or whatever. You can kind of see him in the middle there.
Pac-Man Fever, man.
Yeah, Pac-Man Fever, exactly. Okay, that was long-winded, but I think it was well worth it because what a cool set.
It's collecting. The next thing we have on the docket is the homebrew calendar. And so I'm reaching over. So every year, the Nintendo homebrew community creates a calendar. This year's is this one, Tristan, with a little pink thing. And it's 2025 homebrew calendar is spiral bound. They do it within the community. And every month you get a new homebrew game, and then it has a release of significant homebrew games.
Oh, no. See, this is new to me. Like, I've never even heard of this before.
And I've been collecting these for years. So I just got through 8-Bit Xmas for 2024's calendar. This month is Changeable Guardian Estique. And it is it basically a Japanese Famicom homebrew.
Oh, super cool.
Yeah, and so like they do all types in here. And so this is really cool. And so you can see like there's certain games that were released, throughout the year, and they put them on the actual dates. I don't use calendars anymore, but I buy this to support the community.
So Jeff and I are how many days apart in age? You were born the
14th of October.
14th of October, 1981. I was born the 20th of October, 1981. I was actually curious which game is on the October page for that calendar.
Senpai. Senpai. The Trial of Carzoid.
Okay.
Yeah, it's by Pascal. Really, really cool. And what day did you say yours was?
20th.
So on the 20th, Aspect Star N was released in 2019 and Galactic Ascension in 2018. I bought my copy of Galactic Ascension from the developer at Portland Retro Gaming Expo many years ago. It was in a clamshell with the look like NES style black box release. My birthday, nothing. No.
Well, we need to fix that.
Yeah, Haunted Halloween 85 is released on the 17th, though, so that's pretty close. That's pretty close. That's between our birthdays, split the middle, and we got Haunted
Yeah.
Halloween. That's pretty dope. Good old Tim and Greg from Retrotainment. Good dudes.
Yeah.
And that's one thing too for those of you that are new to the podcast, because every year it says 90% are new people to the podcast every year. We go real far and deep with the community, and we know a lot of people within the program and stuff. Just because being part of creation, it's a very tight knit community. It's really fun. So the homebrew calendar, though, really cool to do. There's an Etsy page. I'll have to post a link in the show notes if I remember. If I don't, leave a comment and remind me, hey, what's that Etsy link? And I will post the link later, for sure. So I also want to support what they're doing and making calendars. Yeah, it just brings it. The last thing that I put in there was Adventures of Panzer 3. So Adventures of Panzer 3. And this is before we start showing off more Christmas stuff, by the way, because I got sidetracked. Adventures of Panzer 3 was a NES Kickstarter. This is for a homebrew. 1 and 2 were awesome. 3, this has like a little bit of a Mega Man style, but that was but they did a lot of stuff with this Kickstarter. They got a CD that they did, a poster, little stickers that all just fell into my lap, tons of stuff. And then there's this that came with it, which was what I showed earlier, which is 8-bit bricks. Apparently they're like, it says microbytes. So these are all single little Legos that make the main character of Adventures of Panzer 3.
That's super cool.
And it comes with its own card, too. So there's like a little card.
Did you say card? Okay, I'm going to have to scan a card and put it in my card book.
Because it's like a little card manual or something.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, and technically that's an instruction thing, too. Now, do you consider this a card?
Gosh, man, that'd be a rabbit hole, wouldn't it? No, I'm going to say no.
Printed.
Go, Craig.
That's definitely printed. Ain't it dangerous? And so, but the thing is that any homebrew release could be 100% have cards with it, because you can make cards for anything. Now, it's done by Pixelcraft, and Dalen Retro Games is the publisher for this, made with NES Maker, just for clarity's sake. And for those that don't know, NES Maker allows you to make NES games in the Windows GUI, which is really cool. So it allows you to use like pre-positioned beginner code. You like make some of the art assets. You can select some options, and you can make your own NES game. And then with some tweaking, you can make like unique stuff, really awesome things like Adventures of Panzer 3. Super cool. Then with that program, since the beginning, I was like backer 1 on one of their Kickstarters.
I was one of the backers too.
Yeah, craziness.
It was a long time ago. That was like over 10 years ago.
So I showed off one Christmas thing that went down a rabbit hole on what we have going on, but I do have some other things to show off, and I'm sure you do too.
I'll wait. I only grabbed one of the things that you sent me, but I will mention those posters that you sent me. Freaking awesome! I especially love that Iwata one. Oh my gosh! I'll get to frame that one. I love that.
Because I will tell you, one thing that I don't ever use is posters. So I know you're a huge advocate of posters. So
yeah, sure. Mm-hmm.
And posters, because I move so much, like unless I freeze them all, they get ruined. And so like I literally just put them away in totes. So I'm like, well, I know you get appreciation out of it. And Adventures of Panzer 3 has a poster folded right here, so I might have to put it in a Tristan pile. So one other item that I have that Tristan sent me, which is a cool one, The Adventure of Link. And this is a NES. I consider this not a hack, but a reprogramming of Legend of Zelda into its own thing. So the Legend of Link, it is like crazy, because like one of the screenshots that was chosen for the back is a mini game that you use with Epona on the back. And so like this is on the NES. This is a reimagining, retelling of Legend of Zelda with all new levels, all new craziness. Badass game. So Tristan, since I haven't opened it, what are the features of this reproduction physical that you had a hand in creating?
So I actually did not play that yet because my copy is a rose-colored gaming copy that's sealed. That one
Yeah.
by Fishy Face Games, who also does amazing reproductions and homebrews. But yeah, like it's a game that I want to play. I'm probably just gonna get the ROM somehow and end up playing it. But I have not played it yet. I need to.
Yeah. But yeah, so like in this release, is this something that you worked on the manual or?
Oh no, nope. I had nothing to do with that one.
Nice.
Yeah.
And my thing is I've never had a CIB version of this, so that is super dope.
Yeah, actually, so like after I was talking to the guy who runs Fishy Face Games, he had already done like a run and they were sold out. He actually made that one especially for me.
No,
So I wanted to pass that along to you because you're a huge homebrew collector like I am. So
and huge Zelda fan.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of those that fits in that weird circle where it is a fan creation.
Mhm.
And I don't think it reuses Zelda code, so it's not a
I don't think so. No,
it's a
it
critical.
feels. Oh, go ahead, dude.
Well, and so it fits into that because there are a bunch of NES homebrews that people make from the ground up. However, it's based off of intellectual properties that they didn't have the
Mhm.
license to. So there's like Scramble, there's a Leisures to Larry game. There's
Yeah.
a few others that are all unlicensed homebrews, and I think that kind of fits in that same category where Legend of Link is like its own little beast. People had to program it. There are talented people out there that had to make this thing.
Yeah, and it doesn't play like the original Legend of Zelda or any Legend of Zelda that was actually on the 8-bit Nintendo. It actually plays more like Link's Awakening. It kind of looks and feels like Link's Awakening on the Game Boy.
Is that it has
Imagine it on the NES.
has a really cool I haven't played it in probably 15 years or
Mhm.
whatever. Like whenever it was released, that's when I played it. I had a version and I can't remember who I bought it from, but it was one of the old school repro makers. And on the back, it like the back label started peeling up and stuff. Like it was one of those where because there was a whole 5-year period where all the reproduction guys and the homebrew creators were buying labels that were like popping up and stuff. Like it was just
So much.
it was a thing. And since then they realized you can score it and it'll actually fold the top label. But the back label was the first game that had a back label pop up. So the fact that I got a fishy face one, that's rad. Thank you very much, by the way.
No worries,
So
dude.
I'll let you show
Should
yours.
So the one that I was like, what, just blown away by, never expected to ever own anything like this too. But as a console collector and having written a console collecting book, video game console collectors field guide. Um, so one of the lesser known consoles out there is a Korean console. Well, I should start by saying a lot of people haven't heard of the MSX either. It's a Microsoft based computer system.
One of my favorites.
And it was like hugely popular in Japan, somewhat popular in Europe, but it never came over to the US. Yeah,
And to me, it like
go ahead.
MSX1 started as an equivalent of a little bit pre NES, and then the MSX2 was like post NES before Super Nintendo. Like if you want to put it in like a generational gap, it like fits in between because it's a computer. It can handle a little bit more, and you have stuff like Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2 on the MSX2.
Metal Gear was actually developed on the MSX by Hideo Kojima. His first ever game was Penguin Adventure on the MSX. So he actually developed for the MSX, and like that's where Metal Gear came from, guys. The MSX. Well,
And now,
Korea.
while we say that the MSX is a computer, it is cartridge based as well. And that's what makes it cool. It's like Famicom style cartridges, and then they have controllers that are like NES controllers where it has a D-pad and 2 buttons. So it's not like the Commodore games on the computer where you have one button and a joystick. Like you have two. Like it does. The ones that I have they do not have a pause button on it. The controllers I have, but it's like the Sansui Joy card that I really love for the Famicom. They have an MSX version of that, and that's what I have. I love that stuff. Sorry to cut you off. I'll put that in there.
But no, that's actually good because like sitting right there, you can kind of see it between the red shell and the green shell is my copy of Vampire Killer and Metal Gear on the MSX. So I have a copy of both of those. Anyway, so Korea came out with their own line of MSX computers called the Zemix. And those things are unbelievably expensive. If you were ever to find any on eBay, you'll see they're astronomically just out of reach. So to be able to even own like a mini version of one, which is this is the Mini V Zemix. This is like a micro console with a bunch of games built in. So amazing. That's so cool. I love to have this.
So they have like a controller with it. Has a controller with it. I think that is the black variant, but I thought that the black and the white are on different sides.
Yeah, it shows the black and then the white also, but I think on the side of one of these it says which one it is. Yeah, whatever.
But it's rad, and I think you can also like inject games into it too.
You can. You can.
Yeah, I think you can, just like every mini piece. So it's such a cool thing, and I was like, I got it. I think we had talked about it when I was looking into it. I got it like years ago, and I'm like, dude, you're gonna have appreciation over that more than I will.
Oh, I love it.
It's still sealed.
Oh my god,
it's still sealed. So I'm like,
it's pretty cool.
That's where I'm like. The only other thing that I have to talk about that's not in the later like what's new to collect section is I did get in a Switch thing since Switchmania craziness. I got in this finally. Vengeful Guardian Moonrider giant version has Super Nintendo style, but this is huge. This is big. Way bigger than the Super Nintendo. It's by Pix and Love. Yeah. And if you're not aware of freaking Pix and Love does everything like with an old school flavor to it. Like they did some releases on the Switch before that had like actual arcade game like cards with it. Like Pix and Love just does such amazing work. And
are they the fact out of France?
Yeah, I thought that they were. Yeah, I thought that they were out of France. But I don't know off the top of my head. I just really, really enjoy their work, and I haven't bought a copy of Vengeful Guardian Moonrider, but now I don't want to open this because this is so cool.
It's so pretty, man. Man, I hate breaking seals like that, but I love to see what's inside. So I would, if I were you, I would open it, but that's just me.
And if you're not aware of Vengeful Guardian Moonrider and what it is like a combination of like Ninja Gaiden and Musha and like all the classic action platformers from the Super Nintendo era. Like this is a tribute to it. It's a golden age of 16-bit action platformers. And it is so cool. I mean, there's like just from the screenshots and stuff, it is so good. This is a game that I have not played, and it's been on my bucket list for years, and like it is absolutely one that I was like, let me get it before the prices explode. Because when we talk about it in the Switchmania section, prices are insane.
Yeah,
prices are.
So I have one final thing to show off that I just got in the mail today that I ordered a while ago. You haven't seen this either, and I wasn't aware of this until a friend of mine sent me a link. But apparently they've been doing this for a little bit of time. It's this company called Saturday Morning Cards. And they do, it's like trading cards. So I'm going to read their like little descriptor here. SMC, which stands for Saturday Morning Cards, is a brand that aims to capture the nostalgia of the good old days when Saturday mornings were filled with watching cartoons, playing with toys and video games, just being a kid. With a focus on retro IPs combined with modern designs, they're creating limited edition collectible mini art that perfectly captures the Saturday morning experience again. So this one is cards of Street Fighter 2.
Oh,
I haven't opened it yet. As you can see, there is a seal. I will be opening this later on, but not on the podcast. I may like on the Patreon. We'll probably put pictures of it. So
nice. I mean, hell, you see this hat that I have. If those of you that aren't aware, PNC Town and Country does not own the IP to the characters, but Thrilla Crew is the artist, and they still release new merch. So they did a classic trucker cap with the Tiki guy from TNC Surf Designs on it. They conveniently release IP. So always we're collecting all the things, like everything.
All of it, dude. So yeah, you can see I collect Noth. So I mean, just all of that stuff. A little bit,
Oh
yeah.
yeah. Well, no,
Question blocks a little bit.
a little bit of craziness. Well, I mean, I think it might be time to talk about some projects we got going on because we do have a lot of stuff that's going on with Hagen's Alley and with
Yeah.
books that we're doing. Um, so for the first one, the one that's the latest one going is Metroidvania Chronicles Phase 2. This one is awesome. This is what I call the advanced copy that the printer sends me while we wait for the freight to come in. So I've had this in my hands for about a month now, waiting for the print run to come in. Um, for those that had volume 1, I had orange. I did green this time with a matching green bookmark. Soft touch with shiny, awesome foil, just like we do. And then, of course, this is Thor Thorvaldsen that did the version of the awesome art this time, because our guy, hand drawn game guides, Phil Summers, was unavailable. He's working on something that we'll talk about later.
I'm intrigued.
But super cool. For an update for those that had supported this on Kickstarter, it is days away from getting shipped to the damn warehouse. It just cleared customs. So basically all the collector's editions come to me, and then all the books go into the warehouse and those ship out. I do all slipcases now because I was tired of my warehouse not putting extra packing materials for my collector stuff. The books, that's fine. For the collector stuff, I want that stuff premiumly packed. And that did leave an opening for me to offer, and I asked everybody, do you want me to sign it? Because I will sign your slipcase. And I had a lot of people say yes. That's pretty cool. So yeah, let's go and talk about your progress of the video game dictionary.
Yeah, so the video game dictionary, so Jeff and I both launched a Kickstarter like the same exact moment, basically, like what, that was 2 months ago now.
Yeah,
it feels like it anyway. Yeah, it was a while ago. So we both got successfully kickstarted. And like I'm still in the process of writing the dictionary. I'd say I'm about halfway the way through, but I keep finding more terms. It's always scope creep. I'm trying to be as thorough as possible because there are just so many different facets of video gaming where you have to pull all this lexicon from. And I want to make sure that all different corners of video gaming are represented. So like you'll see speed running terminology, you'll see collecting terminology, you'll see, just everything that I can think of.
Dude.
Fighting game terminology, like fighting game community terminology, is a whole language of itself. So,
Yeah.
if you're confused about, like, if you're watching, say, like DreamHack or something like that, you're like, oh, what's turtling? Well, you can look up in my dictionary what's that.
When like a hoop's coming out of your butt.
Exactly. Haha.
Dude. Yeah, so I mean that's a pretty good segue into my other project that launched concurrently. And so I launched the Complete Genesis. So finally doing the Sega Genesis collector's book. The difference was, though, is that I was actually in the summer part of a backer kit Booktopia. And so the actual Complete Genesis book, the hardcover, is already done and ordered, and I'm waiting on it. I don't even have the advanced copy, so we're still a few months out from getting that one. But it was completed. The thing was, and this is what's crazy, just with the Kickstarter, it hit such a stretch goal that I have to do a bonus book for free because that was my stretch goal. I was like, it ain't going to hit this. Let me just put something crazy out there. And what I've learned through the last 15 years with Hagen's Alley is that anytime I put something out there, usually the craziness, like the Complete Virtual Boy, happens. My dogs are going crazy, by the way. Somebody's probably knocking on the door. I'm not going to get it. Still, I am currently working on the complete Sega CD and 32X. It is a mini book because it's 116 pages. I've already templated it out. Um, I finished writing over the Christmas break. Back in the day, I finished writing the Sega CD, the 32X. I did homebrew, and I did the 32X cross Sega CD as sections. I am now just finishing. I'm not quite halfway through the Mega CD side, which are exclusives and unique versions of Sega CD games. I picked a few simplistic games. There's a few that have a Sega CD and they're in the Mega CD section. But I'm writing that out, and then I'm going to print that. And the other part of the Kickstarter, which was the pocket version of the complete Genesis, which was a reason. Because technically, if you have a book that you took to a crowdfunding, you can't just take it and put it on Kickstarter. Like, it has to be a unique thing.
Yeah, you got to do a different thing. Yep.
So the unique thing was I'm doing a pocket guide, which is a separate print run. But essentially I just have to shrink everything down. Main thing is readability for when I do that, just to make sure that everybody can still somewhat read it, because it's going to be tiny little print when I put it in there.
Well, you can just ship it with a magnifying glass too.
Yeah, it'd be fun. Yeah, so but the thing is that the Sega CD book will be done soon, and then I think we could segue into patches, pins, and coins before we talk about the projects, because that is part of this.
Yeah,
dude. So I know you have been doing some pin stuff.
Yeah, so I stupidly didn't grab the pins. Well, actually, I have one. I have our cross collab pin in my hand, but not the other two. So, and I just realized that whenever I was talking about my dictionary, I didn't mention the name of the dictionary. It's a video game dictionary for the total noob. So that's what it's called if you want to look it up. It's still on Kickstarter. I don't think you can still back it, right? I mean, as a light backer. I don't know when that ends, so I really don't know.
If you did,
if you want to
try,
yeah, sure.
Say mine's still up. Mine's still up for the complete Genesis. You can still, as a late back,
mine's still up then, I guess. So if you want to back it still, hey, go ahead. And we actually, so we did a pin for each of us, and we're actually going to do this for Hagens Alley books going forward, like a 1-inch pin that's unique for every single book. So Jeff's is based on the artwork for his book. Mine's based on the artwork for my book. And then since we both did a Kickstarter campaign at the same time to incentivize, like backing both of them, if you backed both of them, you got a cross collab pin. That's a special pin. That's the only way you can get it. So those pin collectors out there, you're gonna have a whole bunch of Hagens Alley pins to collect. And we're planning on actually doing our backlog of books at some point. I don't know. I am. Are you? You have a lot more books, so that's a lot more capital.
20 unique releases, guy.
Yeah, you can just throw thousands of dollars into pins.
Well, on the other side, though, if the Patreon cool shit side explodes, let's see how far y'all will decide where I go with that. Because on top of the pins, with the backer kit, I decided to do some patches. So I decided that anybody who supported my book, if you supported something else, I will get you a Hagens Alley patch. And so I did it. It's the Hagens Alley logo that Saru Maru did, Hagens Alley Entertainment. It is done. It is sewn, completely sewn patch. Looks super freaking cool. And then I also did a complete Genesis in the same style as that pin, as a bigger version for those that share the campaign. So if you share the campaign, and this will also be when you share the site link with the unboxing of your book, kind of like an unboxing patch that Premium did back in the day. But essentially, I have a complete Genesis one, and I'm going to do that with the Metroidvania Chronicles. And so, again, going back and doing all the books with patches, maybe not. But
it's pretty costly. So,
but I am doing patches for releases, and then when you share them, because the sharing of it showing people that it exists is like 9/10 of the battle when you're doing small publishing.
Seriously,
Um,
man.
yeah, yeah, it's like we're doing indie publishing and doing indie publishing, not from the big boxes. We're not going in a Barnes and Noble so they can just like throw it in the trash. Like we're doing it. You buy it, you get it from us, and you get to preserve it. It's the highest quality possible. That's what we do. So I have those, and then the fifth thing, because you have two pins, two patches. The fifth thing is I did a coin on the backer kit for early backers, and essentially it's a Sega Genesis. This is complete Genesis.
So sick, dude.
And then on the back, it's a television that says Genesis does what Nintendo. And the coin is like, it's about like this big. It's a really cool coin. It's pretty thick. It is badass. And so,
Yeah.
right now, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, your description of that coin is not doing it justice. Like, do you have that coin in front of you that you could show it off? Because
I mean,
people need to see this.
to get it.
It's crazy. No, make people look at Patreon for it. But like the front of it is a Sega Genesis. I mean, it's a rectangular coin. It's not that big, but it's like, and it's angular like the Genesis is. So it's cut and like detailed like the Genesis. It's so freaking cool and shiny.
And it's silver instead of black.
Yes.
It's silver instead of black. Oh, and the television is an old school CRT red television. Like it's a badass thing. And it was cool as hell, fun to make. And I will be selling the extra copies. There won't be many, but it'll be up on the HagensAlley.com after everybody has their stuff. It went free. So it went literally early bird backers. I was like, I'm going to do a free coin. I didn't really promote or announce it, but I always do cool stuff. And those that have been longtime supporters, they catch that stuff and they get cool stuff. Now that being said, I have like Tristan during the holidays got out a lot of pins. I have 100 packages now that I've had to get together for pins, patches, coins. And so I just like we were waiting on labels because my wife was printing them out for me, so I don't have to like hand write a bunch of stuff. And so now everything should be going out soon, this month for sure. Probably in the next couple days, honestly. But I have the labels. I printed it, and then I had to go get my battery fixed in my truck, so I haven't had time to assemble all the packages. But it's all pretty much ready. I already have it all kind of organized and oriented and organizing all that. Maybe I keep it more simple and just do pins the next time. But knowing me, I'll probably still go crazy. And
yeah, gotta do it.
But all right, so that's what we currently have in production. Then we have on the horizon.
Yes. Well, I already kind of talked about it. And
Exactly, cards.
Yes, the video game trading card compendium.
Yes.
Named subject to change, but that's what I'm calling it for now. It's going to be very extensive. I mean, like, talk about a rabbit hole. My first two books, it was a console collecting book and then a game collecting book, and the research that was involved in both of those was crazy.
What do you mean book? You mean books?
Well, yeah, books. So I call my game collecting book a book.
2,000 pages, dude.
2,408 pages. 2,408. You want to check? Go to HagensAlley.com or VGCollectorGuide.com. They are on sale right now. I have them in hand, and if you want the collector's version, just like he was saying, I don't trust anyone else to ship like a slipcase. So I have those on hand. If you want that, go to VGCollectorGuide.com for that. Oh, yeah. And so speaking of patches, while we're on the subject, I told you that we were going, I had been shopping around to like other vendors for patches.
We always ship cooler stuff, man.
So my patches came in.
The Bowzora.
With shiny silver. Yeah, and they're stick on. So, yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, buddy.
That's awesome. Yeah, you have to let me know how the quality turned out. It looks awesome.
Oh, they're amazing. Yeah, I'll be sending you a couple. So,
yeah, because the thing is that what we try to do is maximize quality while minimizing costs, so that way we continue to do cool stuff and keep the price down. as every vendor tries to raise their prices, which is insane. So like my current patch person, I think doing the math, I think they're more expensive to the lower quality versions than what you got for that high quality one. And just because they continually raise their prices, they didn't used to be that expensive, but now they are. And that's when we transition. I think I'm on my third or my fourth book printer just because people changed over the years. And we meet a quality margin, and constantly that's what indie creations of all about, is making it happen the best way possible.
Yeah.
So I have 3 books in the works concurrently, because that's how I kind of do things in threes. So once I finish the Sega CD, I'm going to be working on 3 different books. First of all is Complete Genesis took me 7 years to finish. 7 years. In that time, the whole time, creator of the Hagens Alley logo, Saru Maru, has been trying to get me to do a TurboGrafx 16 book. The plan has always been to do a TurboGrafx 16 book after I finish the Genesis. So I am working on it. It's already templated. Now I have to work on layout creation, and then I work on writing. So I'm in the layout creation portion, but because that stretch goal hit, that's the priority now. I have to get the Sega CD book done because people have already backed that.
Yeah.
So Complete TurboGrafx 16 and PC Engine and PCFX, sorry, is being created. It's about 500 pages already. It's gonna be another mega beast. It's awesome. That being said, there's something that the Switchmania Playcast crew, they're gonna want to know what's happening with the Switch Collector series. It's been a while. So 3 to 4 layout revisions and changes have happened since I started year 3 of the Switch Collector. I'm not calling them volumes anymore. I'm calling them years. Year 3. And because I went to an abridged format for year 2, part 2. Just because I was like, man, it's going to take me way too long. Well, guess what? It's still taking me too long even to try to do it abridged because I had so much going on.
What a beast, man.
So I decided that with year 3, and this is my second and my third layout revisions, that I'm not doing abridged. I'm going to do little taglines for every single game. So you read a little bit about each one. Not quite the paragraph that you'll write up that you'll get in the complete series, but still something about the game, like a sentence or two. That way you at least get something about it. Giant articles like there were in the Switch Collector, just because it's not going to get done.
Just quick synopsis.
Very quick synopsis going down the rabbit hole. So all year 3 will be in one book. And I am currently finishing up writings and layout I'm about halfway through year 3, which, I mean, it's like 400 or 500 games in already. Yeah. It's a lot. And I mean, it didn't even start getting insane with the limited companies till year 4 and 5. So it's already getting a little crazy, but like, yeah, it's nuts. But the Switch Collector series is coming. And it is coming with a vengeance, because that is the next book that I'm going to release. Hell or High Water will be the damn Switch Collector year 3. Mark my words. So I finish getting the Genesis stuff done. Once that order is placed, finishing up the damn Switch Collector series. It's gonna happen. Then after that, because I'll be working on Turbo on the side, because that's like how I do a palette cleanser, is I bounce between projects. The third one is off of my YouTube channel, Indie Gaming Gems.
Yes.
And I am working on the spiritual successor to Hidden Gaming Gems as Indie Gaming Gems. And instead of doing Hidden Gaming Gems for every generation, I'm doing Indie Gaming Gems, and I'm going to split it off by different genres of games. I have a cool ass layout that I've been working on. Tristan's been giving me feedback on. This was probably in the fall that you did that, by the way. Mm-hmm. But essentially, it's going to be about 4-page write-ups on each game. I'm picking games that I've exclusively covered in the Indie Gaming Gems YouTube channel, which I think hit over 10,000. No, it hit over 20,000 views this last week. 20,000 views. That's insane. Very that nice. Channel is exploding, which is awesome. And I'm doing formulaic, just covering indie games. had a request to do a little bit more of what we do here on the podcast, which is a little bit more talking about them in my own personal. So I'm reformatting for future episodes where I'm going to do half and half instead of, it was like 90%, 10%, like my personal. As like, people want to know more about the game. They don't give a shit what I have to say. No, they want to hear what I have to say. They want to hear what I have to say. So it's going to be a little bit more personal, even though I have to do it like streamlined because it'll take way too long to create an episode. But I've had a little bit of a backlog created for the episodes. So there's about 3 or 4 episodes that'll come out from the time you hear this podcast, and then it should hit the newer format with the first community picks episode. I have a community picks episode that is the one that I'm starting the new format. Makes sense. But yeah, that is the last one, Indie Gaming Gems. Those are my 3 that I'm working on concurrently. But you noticed I didn't talk about Metroidvania Chronicles Phase 3. I have paused that one just because I decided I wanted to do like a bookazine where I'm continually putting out volumes. Ended up being that my stuff is such a higher quality that people want the damn collector's editions. They're like, if you release these every quarter, I can't keep up.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, my response to that was fair. So I will wait for Phase 3, and Phase 3 will just be probably twice the size, and it'll be around the same price probably, and it'll be like, I'll probably make her thick boy, thick girl, and it'll be cool shit for Phase 3, and I'm gonna continue the series. It's fun to do. It's just I am focusing right now to get Switch done, and then indie stuff.
Yeah,
because crazy shit, dude. That's a lot.
Yeah.
We always have a lot of projects going on.
Yeah.
So and future episodes, we won't have that. We won't go over in that much of a detail. But for this first one back for the playcasts, well, you know, so we're not calling this is called the Game Collector. We're not talking about playcasts because we don't have time to play games, people. We just collect and make cool shit. Like,
just really quick, yeah, just like Jeff, I'm always working on multiple projects as well. So there's one that I'm still in the research phases of, and that's Power Up, a gamer's guide to energy drink. So that's going to be a crazy, like, all-encompassing every energy drink that's ever been released, and I'm going to pair it with what video game goes good with it. Even though, like, so I'm a huge energy drink guy. I've been drinking energy drinks ever since I was in the Air Force, and like it's done me dirty in some ways, and I've kind of sworn them off. So it's been 7 weeks since I've had an energy drink, and I'm shaking. Like, I've had headaches every day. No, I'm just kidding. But I miss them. I still love them, and it'll be kind of a cautionary tale as well. This guide that I'm writing.
I think you should also do parody ones like Cred for Prime when the South Park did the Cred episode.
Oh yeah.
But so just so you know, when you do the Prime section, there is a PewDiePie indie platformer.
Oh gosh.
There's an indie platformer based on PewDiePie, so that is
surprise. Yeah, well, that's definitely what we're gonna have to pair it with. So
yeah, Steve. Yeah, I have such a crazy one. That game actually isn't bad. That's the funny thing. It's like a retro platformer.
Oh man. So, the third book, the one after the dictionary and after the energy drink one, I haven't announced yet, and I'm keeping that one a little close to the chest. I'm going to talk to Jeff about
the card one. The card one.
Oh, and the card one. Gosh damn it. See, so many. I can't keep them straight. And the card one. So after that, I have another one planned. That's kind of in the research phases. And Jeff, on top of this, I haven't even mentioned this to you, but I have a proposition for you and I to work on something. It's not a book, but it's book adjacent. So we'll see how much bandwidth both of us have, but it would be fun, and I think you would be keen for it whenever I tell you about it.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. It'd be a fun one.
And now, if listeners want to hear what Tristan's saying, he might mention it in Patreon if people request.
I might slip up and say it. So
in Patreon, though.
In Patreon.
I love we're talking about the Patreon, even though it's free tier. It's a free tier, though. You can go
whatever. Just follow us. We've got a lot more to say.
So 1 hour in, around 1 hour in, let's talk about what's new to collect. But a lot of cool shit to collect. We have a lot of cool shit to collect already. But We have a little list, and we have an ongoing document, and we kind of just started. This is just from today, but like as between recordings, like we'll just continually add to it. But there's been a lot of stuff. The first one I want to talk about is hand-drawn game guides. Phil Summers. I don't know if Tristan, if you got a copy of this, but he did a book called 20X 22.
I know about it. I did not get a copy.
And this is probably one of the coolest books because he did talking about him playing and beating games and then wrote about. So here's Sea of Stars, and he drew his own little version of a card on it, each one, and then did like a little bonus art. So he actually drew about them. So freaking cool. The quality is awesome.
Just unbelievable.
The book quality is awesome. It has a soft touch to it, just like what I do. So I feel like he is doing amazing stuff in the community, and he just announced that he is working with the guys that do Nintendo Force magazine, and they are doing a Mega Man hand-drawn game guide, which is super freaking cool. I'm so excited. That
awesome.
Licensed by Capcom from what I'm tracking.
Thank goodness, man. He deserves all that success. He really does.
Super
He's
cool.
So talented.
Exactly. So awesome. He hadn't even slipped up or talked about it before either. Might be disappointed that he didn't want to come with us and go down the rabbit hole, but I don't have a working relationship with Capcom to get it done affordably. So hopefully Nintendo Force got him a good deal. That way he can get a good deal from that. Because I haven't worked with Capcom hand in hand yet. So yeah, would be super cool. But yeah, definitely go, and as soon as that launches, I'm sure we'll both share it. And definitely want Phil to have awesome success with that.
Oh yeah, dude.
One.
Absolutely.
All right, so we got the next one, Tristan.
Yeah, so we have a couple, game convention season is not upon us yet, but it's coming up real quick. To the point where if you're planning on going, you better be looking at hotel rooms right now because they're selling out. I mean, I was looking for, so MGC, Midwest Gaming Classic, which is in Milwaukee, and Game On, which is in Phoenix, and that's run by Gamester81, John Lester, our friend. He and MGC this year have kind of ended up on the same weekend, which sucks.
Yeah,
because I love both of those shows. Well, I mean, granted, Game On last year was the first time I ever went to that show, but I would love to go back. But Milwaukee is so much closer to where I am, and all my friends are going there, so I'm probably going to go to MGC, unfortunately.
Yeah. And what weekend is that?
I believe it's the 4th through the 6th of April.
Yep, it's like one of the first, second weeks of April. Yeah. I am stuck in training, so I cannot miss. So it's yeah, for my main job, I've been in a year of training, and I can't miss POI instruction time. Yeah. So unless it falls on like a 4-day weekend, I typically can't go, and no conventions this year fell on a damn 4-day weekend. So the last convention I went to was SoCal, which was right before I started training last summer. So that was the last convention. But to transition, by the way, so you are picking MGC because it's closer.
I am, yeah, and I'm part of this huge collecting group that's been around for about 10 years, and all of those guys are going up to MGC. I never get to see them, and this will be like the only time this year I'll be able to see those guys.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair, and the thing is, though, is that like I'm bros with John Lester, but like I'm also buddies and bros with Dan Lucen, who runs MGC. So it would be hard for me to choose. Because MGC, Video Game Bullshit, my podcast, we were on there doing panels for 10 years longer. And so I would be hard pressed to choose, honestly.
I want to go down to Phoenix and give John a big hug for that freaking awesome video he did for my book. Like, dude, such a glowing review. And I was just so flattered. Like, such a nice guy.
John's awesome. Now, technically, I am close to Phoenix. I think it's still like 10-hour drive, so it's still stupid because I'm in Texas and
closer to where
everywhere's far. Everywhere's far. But I just don't know if I'll be able to make it out. I'll have to see if I can just like get out there for a couple days or something. I wouldn't be able to have anything with me there. Nothing here. I have nothing here.
I know Scott's going, but who knows what he'll have.
Dude, maybe I'll send him some stuff, some treats for the listeners. Like, hey, find the premium guys and ask if they know Tristan and Jeff.
Yeah.
So
Maybe I'll do
one
this.
thing is that as I jump ahead one, now the dates were announced for Portland Retro Gaming Expo, and that is in October, and October is after I finish my training, so I am already penciling in that I will be there and doing a panel at Portland. Now, so it'll be I'm getting a decent sized booth, and this is for Hagens Alley Books, not for the premium guys, because again, we just do design for premium. We make our stuff.
Yeah.
But, and this is me to allude to something, there is a super secret thing that may or may not be revealed that I'm doing. Super, super secret. And it's something revolutionary that has never been done in this way in the gaming scene before. And it is absolutely collector based. Absolutely collector based.
Okay.
It is something that I'm excited about. And if it all works out, still the stars have to freaking align before we can even announce it. For legality's sakes, is going to be freaking badass.
Awesome.
And so Portland in October, that gives us plenty of time. That is the launch date of that thing.
Do you know the weekend in October?
I think it's before our birthdays. It might be the weekend after our birthdays, though. It might be between our birthdays. It's either the weekend before or the weekend after. So either October like 10th ish or October 17th ish.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know without checking my phone, and I use my phone to record. So,
I guess I could look it up. I'm just being easy.
Yeah. Yeah, but either way, though, I already have it penciled in that I'm going to be doing a table and a panel out there, because I did a panel back in the day. I helped John Lester unveil the Collector Vision Phoenix. The Phoenix with Brian, who was the programmer from it, and your awesome fellow author who you love, Brett Wise, was on that panel with me.
Yeah,
great dude.
I have nothing against him.
Nope.
Now that I've talked to him.
Hey, he just might have not been as friendly as I am to new people.
No, he was very much a gatekeeper at first.
I'm friendly with everyone. But Portland should be a fun time. It's great. People call it the Mecca, the one you go to. You go to any convention once a year. It's just a really awesome time. And for collectors, for retro collectors, that is the place to go. The last time I went, it's been a couple years. You've went since I have.
Yeah, I manned the booth not last year, but the year before for Premium Edition. So that was the last time I went. It was in 2023. So this year, it's October 17th through the 19th.
It's between our birthdays.
Yeah, my birthday is literally the day after it's over. So
we're going to party for Tristan.
If I come out. Yeah, which I might. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, and just saying it's right after my birthday. So either way, we can have a game collector meet and greet out there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. By then, we should have plenty of people that are part of the video game, the game collector crew.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's do it. But either way, Portland should be cool. I threw some other stuff in there. So Dungeons & Dragons has a pinball that was announced by Stern.
Yeah, that's cool.
Looks fucking dope. I love all that shit. My wife. Oh yeah, and my wife still says that I have to buy her a Foo Fighters pinball. So
yeah. How much is a new pinball machine nowadays? Like $1,000?
$5-6 grand. Yeah. And that's probably the normal one, and then they always have
the special edition, and like, oh gosh.
Well, the cool thing about Stern is, number one, they're always they're Chicago based, so they're always at Midwest. And I got to talk to Gary Stern the last time I was at Midwest class a couple of years ago, because he's literally there, just in like right where you're at, like he's in the room next to you, like you go chat with the dude. And they were running this net code, which I thought was cool as shit, where you literally log in your username stuff on the pinball machine and does worldwide leaderboards. So instead of having your high score in your arcade, you do the high score on all the pins, dude. It's so cool. It was and they were just trialing that years ago. Now I'm sure that shit is a crazy community at this point.
Fun fact. So there's actually like a website where you can log your high score for pinball machines. I can't remember what the name of the website is, but I've got
Galaxies.
No, it's not that. It's actually for pinball, like specifically for pinball, not just all video games. But I have number 3, or had at the time, for Starship Troopers, the pinball machine I have in my basement. I had a number 3 score.
It's cool shit. The thing is, pinball's fun. I really never want to own my own, just for the fact that if something goes wrong, pretty much you have to have an electrician's degree to fix it. That's just like my thing.
Yeah.
But if I buy a new one, like a Foo Fighters pin for my wife, I'm cool with that. But they do create like these big, like digital ones now with digital panels and everything. So I would buy one of those for myself and play.
They're about $10,000 for like the best ones.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nothing's cheap in pinball. Pinball
no.
is like pinball is collecting.
It's for enthusiasts.
Well, it's just like that arcade system that nobody had in any of their console collector books.
Yeah. The XA arcade, yeah. Yeah, I know. You'll never let me live that down. I don't know.
Neither had Larry the Legend, Leonard Herman, who did the other collector's book. But the thing is, the XA arcade is also expensive as shit, but it's literally cartridge based.
Yeah, it's super full cartridges too. It's like sticks. It's weird,
dude. It's like next level craziness. Has exclusive releases of games, content, dude. That's so cool. And if I was rich, that would be the first dumb thing that I freaking buy with my money.
Absolutely. I would have one of those like hooked up to my Astro City cab for sure.
Oh, I would have it hooked up to a giant wall display because it's HD, man. Like, it's crazy. I would have something stupid if I had that much money to blow. Because it's thousands of dollars per game. It's insane. But so the next thing is something that I found on Play Asia, because all these companies, they shoot out emails and I'm usually getting them. There's a Tears of the Kingdom Masterworks guide that was just.
I was going to ask you about that. Like, what does that entail?
I don't know. I literally just saw it pop up in my inbox, and I'm like, my question to you is, isn't it too little, too late? It's been 2 years, like 2023.
You know, you say that though, but so Ben of Ben's Games Up, so that's from a carryover from our other podcast. Apparently it has a jingle, and I don't know. We
created the jingle.
Yeah, we created the jingle. It changes every time.
Does Ben know?
I don't think so. But anyway,
no, it's now.
He's a hardcore Zelda player, and like he only plays like a couple hours at a time because he's like the most
running a game store.
Yeah, he's running a game store, and he is like such a hardcore like workaholic. So he hardly ever sits down and plays a game. But right now he's working on Tears of the Kingdom and has been for the last 3 years, 3 years, whatever it has been. And he's trying to 100% the game. Like, he almost has 1,000 Koroks now. He's going grid, like he has the map down by a grid, and he's going square by square, searching everything, like to the entire map, which is crazy. So he is working on it, and I bet he's good from this.
He might be OCD. I don't know.
He might be. But he would benefit from this, and I need to tell him about this masterwork.
Now, what we do need to check, or he will, is that it's in English, because it's on PlayAsia. So hopefully it's in English, and he can kind of have a checklist box. Because I mean, it's super cool though. I like when they come up with awesome guides like this. But for me, I played and beat the game 2 years ago. I didn't get all the stuff. Like I had a plan to scour and do all the seeds down below and do all the shrines in there. I never did it. I just stopped. We moved to new stuff.
Yeah, and speaking of collecting, you know, Ben's Game Zone is actually like the best game store, and I'm biased, but I'm very honest too. I would say otherwise if it wasn't, but it's the best game store in the Midwest that I've ever come across, and it's in Ralston, Nebraska. So if you're anywhere around Ralston, Nebraska, number 1, go to Ben's Game Zone. Number 2, hit me up and we can hang out.
Dude, I'm
going to Nebraska.
Like awesome ass uh indie custom retro game stores are like my favorite because every time like those guys had the most passion because they literally had to put their money where their mouth is.
Yeah.
Like they are doing awesome work, and every game store owner I've come across has all been awesome. They've all been cool.
Yeah.
Like there's guys out in Cali, some of my bros that are part of SoCal, like Chris, like cool dudes, and they run game store, and he runs a couple, and in Cali, and like you go in there and you're like, oh my god, there's so much cool shit. And then because you know them, they're like, hey, here's what I just got in. And I'm like, ooh, first dibs. And
No,
it's like
no
so
shade
cool.
to like North Dallas, but like I lived there for 7 years while I was stationed there in the Air Force. And as far as like places to go for game collectors, for game stores, it's kind of a desert because it's so saturated with collectors that you're really not going to find any sort of crazy deals, and no one's giving up all that rare nonsense. So I never found anywhere outside of like Craigslist that I was going to find anything cool for.
That's what happens when you get into game chasing territory, man.
Yeah.
Like, the game chasers literally live out in the DFW, Dallas Fort Worth area.
Yeah,
And so,
Steve Wright's out there. Brett Weiss is out there. Yeah,
the video game history foundation's out there. Like you're gonna find
yeah,
anything on there.
Yep.
Yeah, very game museums out there. Because right now I'm currently in El Paso, and there's no retro game stores out here, but there are some retro game pop-ups. So they'll like go and like there's a bar called Rad Bar, which is hilarious, Rad Arcade. Because Rad Bar is Joe's in Florida. There's a Rad Arcade out here. But they did a pop-up with collectors coming in, and it's the same guys I'll see at a flea market. And they pop up and they'll have some retro games and stuff. But like outside of that, like it's such a ghost town that I was able to get a boxed Atari 2600 off of Facebook Marketplace for like $10, and nobody countered me. I was like, I don't go on Facebook Marketplace a lot. I did one day, and I'm like, oh, cool. I can go pick it up like $5 on a house.
Yeah,
Like,
that's awesome.
Cool shit. But yeah, like it's awesome though. Next thing on the list is the chromatic. And the old thing that we used to do in video game bullshit is talk me out of it, Tristan. This one's pretty easy to talk me out of. However, there's a little story with this from collector-based standpoint because, and you know this now, but did you know initially before I told you that the chromatic that is in GameStop as exclusive games that are also in GameStop, exclusive Game Boy games that are being sold in store GameStop.
I've got a little wrinkle to that story.
Nice.
Since we spoke last, but
nice.
Yeah, go ahead and start.
So the answer was like when I first talked to Trish, he's like, "What the hell? They have them in the store?" Like, and so the thing is that I heard through watching reviews because I was trying to justify myself not buying the damn chromatic, which is a perfect Game Boy. It is the Game Boy Color, perfect screen, perfect everything.
Yeah.
But we both have analog pockets, and analog pocket is good enough and does other stuff.
Exactly.
But for the Game Boy, it's the perfect one. Now, I found out though that they're doing their own homebrew chromatic releases on Mad Retro, and it says one new game a week. I think that they've already busted that since I found out. But they do. It says that they're in GameStop. So I went to my local GameStop here in El Paso, and I walk in and I go, "Hey, so do you have the chromatic games?" And they're like, "Well, let me look." And it's like, "Oh, it's under Mod Retro." And mind you, they're nowhere in the damn store. I already looked. And they look at my, "Oh, we have every one but one of the games in stock." And it was like, and they were like, "But we're too busy. We can't go get them right now. You'll have to leave your number and we'll call you later." And so I was like, number one, my daughter and I were the only two in the store at the time. And number two, then an hour before closing, there was two workers. Like one person could literally go in the back, grab the damn box, and come out. And I am the dork that would buy these. And so, after that, I was like, well, not going into that GameStop again because they gave me crappy service. It's a GameStop. And then the other thing was I went on the Mod Retro website. They had a multi-pack of all 6 games for the price of 5. So I got a deal. I don't know if that was a Christmas holiday deal or if they still have it as a bulk deal. but I did buy the first set, which I think are still have yet to ship to me. But I did buy them all, and I'll show them off here once I get them on the podcast here. So what is the new wrinkle, though, to the story?
Well, so I'm going to make an analogy first. Have you ever gone to like McDonald's or something like that, and you're like, hey, can I get a milkshake or can I get an ice cream cone? They're like, oh, I'm sorry, our ice cream machine is broken. Like, that's our ice cream machine is broken. Yeah. Well, you got the it's working, but we're too lazy to make you an ice cream. I got the it's broken. And they told me that it's not in the store. Like they don't carry the games in the store. When I know that's not true because you told me that they are. Yeah. So what the Try Guys were so lazy.
They didn't even want to look it up. Yeah, but like what I'm tracking though is that at some point, at least in my store, they had them up on the counter, on the table, on the counter at one point, and no one knew what the fuck they were, so they put them in the back. That's what the analogy that I had is that they had them out at some point, but never put them on the shelf because there's no layout for the store to put them on the shelves.
No, they just told me that the ice cream machine is broken.
We don't have an ice cream machine, Tristan. They don't have one. Yeah. We don't make ice cream.
It's sold out, and that's why I asked. And I remember you saying that they had them in stock, but they didn't even like look it up. They're like, no, we don't have those.
Yeah, they have to look up Mod Retro, and then they're there, man.
Yeah. So apparently GameStop just doesn't want to sell them. That's what I'm hearing. Mm-hmm. Maybe some of you guys out there know the truth, and you can like tell us what's going on. Are they like Illuminati games or something? I don't know.
But they're like the ones that I saw.
Do I have to be a Freemason?
They all look awesome, though. The games look cool shit. The releases that they're doing.
Yeah.
And then they're doing more releases. So if they do another multi-pack on the website, I'll just wait for the multi-pack and get them all. But this is a subset that would be fun to collect.
Yeah, for sure.
What the hell?
Well, and the other thing, dude, along the same lines, like that's an obscure library that a whole lot of people don't know that there is a library for. Another one is Polymega is making their own games. Did you know that?
Yes, they're like little arcade.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. Yeah, Polymega actually has their own releases.
Yeah. Dude, that one is going to be an obscure one because a lot of people aren't tracking that. On that same boat, you have also the Amico did another run in Portland.
Yeah, that's good.
Little cards that don't connect to an Amico.
The whole
there is called Amico. Boys Amico. Little key card. Like that's wild. Cool idea, but the fact that it's connected with the Amico, I'm not interested.
Yeah, and then of course, collector piece at that point. It's a pure collector piece at that point.
And then one other thing that we talked about on the Playcast back in the day, you got your it's not the Evercade, is it? It is the Evercade.
Evercade. Mm-hmm.
Is the Evercade. The Evercade's went crazy since the last time we had an episode. Evercade's insane. There's so many games. There's a few different consoles now. They're doing little micro handhelds with pre-built games. Like Evercade is not as cool as it used to be. It used to be like one console thing, and now a handheld and a console. Now there's so many freaking variants. It almost kind of degraded the cool factor for me.
So if there's anyone out there that actually wants an Evercade game library, visual checklist, I just so happen to make one, and it's in the release notes document that is for sale on VGCollectorGuide.com. Jeff is actually has one in the mail. I sent to him a couple days ago, so she should be seeing that pretty soon.
And of course, since it still has new games coming out at the time, I'm sure that they're going to release a fuck.
Oh yeah, well, it was what was available at the time, and I did like Songbird's new odd releases. It has a checklist in there. I've got all of Hagens Alley's books listed, just like the bibliography that he did. And then Premium Edition, I did a checklist for them, too.
Well, now we'll check the accuracy of the bibliography versus...
Yeah, I know. Well, I'm right by you, so we'll see. You might...
After that, I spent a day doing research.
It's mostly correct. It has most of it.
I'm crazy. Holy shit! I forgot I released games. Like there's certain ones. I went like even the fact that I did a double release of Comic Killer. I didn't even realize.
Oh.
Because I had a 10 game release that went to MGC, Midwest Gaming Classic, and then there was versions that went in the Best of NES Homebrew box set, second version.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and different color cartridge too. So I'm an asshole. So speaking of NES Homebrew stuff, I think it's finally. I don't know if this is a new availability, but it's definitely newer that I saw pop up. Was Skate Cat is now available and shipping. I think it's from Broke Studio and it's NES and Famicom. Now when I say Skate Cat, Skate Cat is made, by a guy overseas over in Europe, and he made it with his son. And the cool thing about this is Dale Coop, by the way. And the cool thing about this is that he was featured on Game Center CX. Game Center CX, the best game show of all time, with Shinra Reno covering games.
Yeah, dude. I wonder if I have my business cards are here. Yes, I do.
And yeah, and so Retro Game Master was the Kotaku release. They did like 10 episodes. There are hundreds of episodes of Game Center 6. Still to this day, they're airing new episodes.
And they're all Korean.
In Japan. But in one of the episodes, I think it was last year, they were on the episode. Like they covered Skate Cat on Game Center CX.
Awesome.
So the fact is, Broke Studios doing the release. Broke Studio does awesome work. I love their NES releases. They're really good. They do cool manuals. They do all the stuff. Man, Tristan, you popular, man. I hear you blowing up, brother.
Oh, no, here it is.
I can hear the vibration through your mic, Tristan. I just hear the vibe. Like, no.
I didn't even hear it. Sorry about that.
Yeah, you're gonna hear it on the recording.
Crap.
Yeah, you were going nuts, dude. But yeah, Skate Cat's a cool one. There were some that I saw pop up on YouTube. The Mr. FPGA PlayStation. So they're doing this retro remake website does these really cool packaging for Misters. Misters are these, emulation boxes, but they're doing a PlayStation version with an FPGA, fully programmable array that emulates the console perfectly of the PlayStation. So it's the PlayStation era FPGA, which is
Excellent.
A new thing. Yeah, they're cool little consoles. They do like high quality casings and everything. But yeah, I'm definitely interested in seeing where that goes. But I typically don't go down the FPGA rabbit hole because I have an analog pocket.
Yeah, I don't generally either. And there's this, argument between emulation and emulation's good enough for me. I don't need to go crazy.
I like the FPGA for stuff like Nintendo that I know, but after that, I'm good.
Yeah.
Now the final thing in here, which isn't the final thing in the list, this thing called Retro Game Zine. I don't know if you heard of Retro Game Zine in the mini mags.
I have not.
So Retro Game Zine, I have some, and they are these little mini mags, about the same form factor as my Metroidvania Chronicles, and it covers one game. This is It Came from the Desert. And literally, this just covers It Came from the Desert. Is a little staple bound mini book. Same guys that do the and now you have like a little thing in here, Pixels and Polygons. There's a podcast, Pixels and Polygons, apparently. I didn't know about that. And then there's a 32-bit library book series that apparently there's in here. And this actually has a map, a card.
That's cool.
But it's a postcard of a map. And so pretty cool that and it's Darren Hupke. He's the one who does this magazine. He's the one that did the 32-bit library. And I assume that he is also on a podcast called Pixels and Polygons, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But so that's the first issue. Second issue is Shakan the Forever Man for the Sega Genesis.
Nice. I love that art.
Yeah, it's such a cool one. This one I don't think came with a card, but like he does some pretty cool layouts. These books are like 30 pages. They're tiny little magazines. It says that the next issue will be Final Fantasy 11. I don't think that it's been released yet, but so us as authors. We did VGBS Presents. He did, apparently now I see it on there, Pixels and Polygons Presents. So apparently this is presented by their podcast, which I have never heard. So I am going to check it out, and maybe I'll have a little thing to talk about in the next one if it's cool or not. We'll give it a full rest.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to check that out too. I don't care what it is or who writes it. I just like stuff like that. It's awesome.
Like this and contents and all this stuff. But yeah, no, these are really cool. I think that they are at least printing them on their own or something. They have a nice little matte finish to them. They're really cool though. I dig it. Definitely support the indie creators for sure. So we're at an hour and a half. It's time to do the Switchmania section. Switchmania section. Oh my goodness. So the classic, this whole podcast started as Switchmania Playcast. I think you wanted to do it.
No, you're good.
And Switchmania is one word, by the way. Oh.
Well, I can fix that real quick.
Oh, you're all good.
I think it actually auto-corrected me. I'm pretty sure I had it right.
So while that's calling this section, technically, we're going to talk about all the cool shit that's coming out for all systems. So there's stuff and basically, as it is, it becomes the limited run game section because they have released how many freaking games in the last, 4 or 5 days?
78.2. 78.2.
Well, let me count 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. They've released 13 releases in the last since the 5th, and it's 4 days.
Unreal.
So limited run is insane. I argue that they are now the biggest publisher in the world. Period. Bigger than every other publisher.
Safe assumption.
Yes. So they aren't just doing indie games anymore. They're doing all types. And merch too. So first thing that is on there for they have Shenmue merch up on their website now. Apparently they're doing Shenmue merch. They have the Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remake that they're doing a physical for, which looks cool. I don't know if you played much of the Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver.
I've seen the most exposure I've had to that is speed runs. So I never really played it, but yeah.
I rented it back in the day. I was a renter guy. Rented it back in the day. Loved the Soul Reaver. I used to like the Legacy of Kain, the Blood one, where you play as the actual vampire and killing people. That one was way cool. The Soul Reaver was more action-based with magic and stuff. It's still cool as shit, though. Then they're doing Virtual Fighter 5. I think that's on PS5.
Yeah.
And they're doing Yakuza 3 and 4.
Holy crap, that's crazy.
It's insane. And so those are giant IPs. So they're doing a re-release. I think I don't remember the original console, but Killing Time. They're doing a version.
3DO, I believe.
3DO? Yeah, because the guys at Limited Run, they love doing them FMV games.
Well, hopefully it's not on a CDR this time. Oh, shots fired.
Yeah, I don't know why they would do a CDR. Makes no sense. Save money. That's dumb.
I don't know what happened there.
It's not expensive to press CDs. We should know. But Nine Shadows was probably the first standout release that I saw. Nine Shadows is a Metroidvania. Definitely in my backlog to play. It is a beautiful game. Pixel graphics look so freaking cool. Definitely the feels of Symphony of the Night. So that's a really cool Switch physical that's coming out finally. Getting a Switch physical Nine Shadows. Cosmic Fantasy Collection 2. We're talking PC Engine style. Cosmic Fantasy Collection. MSX PC Engine. The Cosmic Fantasy series is an RPG series. A lot of anime aesthetics. That is definitely coming. Victory Heat Rally. That one is a classic racer. That one is finally going. I'm pretty sure that was one that was offered to Premium when I was still running the ship over there. And we had only played a demo of it. So that could be an old Switchmania get, which is cool for limited run. Then there's also another racer called Slipstream that I'm not too familiar with, but I do know it's a racing game.
Yeah.
And then you have one of the spiritual successors to the Sonic franchise, Freedom Planet 2. Which I think the original Freedom Planet was Wii U, I want to say, if I'm right off the top of my head. but then Freedom Planet got ported to the Switch, as does everything. And Freedom Planet 2 is absolutely takes everything that was cool, the original Freedom Planet, which is, spiritual successor to the Sonic games, and does that. So that's really cool shit. So definitely Freedom Planet 2 is one. And the thing is, I really do want to highlight some of the smaller games as we do this section, because those are going to get under the radar as Limited Run does these mega releases. Like, these other ones are just as worthy of getting talked about. Speaking of one that's not small, Magical Drop 6.
Yeah.
I didn't know there were 6 of them, but Magical Drop series. I think that's another PS5 release. And then Terminal Velocity was the final one, and I don't know if that's indie. It seems like it was.
Yeah, I know. Like, that one sounds familiar, and I can't remember why it sounds familiar. So I'm gonna have to cheat, like look at some pictures.
Yeah, look her up, because the thing is that we are in an era now where there are so many freaking games coming out that game names are starting to cross the streams too in my brain. Like, because there's another Terminal, or there's a Velocity game that already has a physical for sure.
Oh yeah, okay. It was made by 3D Realms at first. That's why, because I've played it on PC.
Super indie, not at all. It's a re-release of a classic PC.
Yeah,
got it. Dang. Yeah, so that's the one thing. So that's like, what, 12, 13 games in that Shenmue merch. And that's in the last few days. That's crazy. Like,
do you remember the days where it's like, oh man, Limited Run's coming out with a game in like 3 weeks? Let me sit
and get in line, and we all
let's see. I would like be all like shaking, like, oh my gosh, all right. F5, refresh. Like, I was trying to get like Windjammers, like special edition or something like that. Like,
I remember standing in line for a ride at Disney World and F5ing on my phone, refreshing on my phone to get Bloodstained Curse of the Moon limited edition.
I don't remember what game it was, but I was actually taking a flight. Because like the Air Force had taken me somewhere, but I was on my way back to Dallas Fort Worth Airport, and I was landing, and like I finally got cell phone service just as it was releasing, so I was able to like get it while I was on the plane.
Dude,
I mean, it was in airplane mode.
But yeah, that's craziness. The only other game that's out there right now within the last week is Steam World Build. Is a super rare release, which is pretty cool. And then
I like the Steam World franchise. Have you ever played Dig and what's the other one?
I like Dig 1 and 2. I'm not Heist was the other one. I wasn't a fighting Heist. Yeah. And then Build, I assume, is building. So not as interested. And then of course there is the Dream one from Premium, which is Turbo Kid, is up for pre-order, which is awesome. Like that one, like, I reached out to them personally. Because I had beaten the game, and I'm like, do y'all have a physical? And they're like, no. And I'm like, here you go. I give that to the team. I'm like, here you go. Like, I
played it, and I'm like, yes, get it, please.
Like,
please.
I'm like, I want to make a strategy guide on it, please. So I'm gonna make a strategy guide on the gun. So that's the fun thing is I get to make guides on this shit. It's awesome. The last little piece that we close out the Game Collector episode, the relaunch, not really, just a continuation. Kickstarters with a physical, and there's a bunch. And again, these aren't all inclusive. If you know of something that we didn't cover, Switch, that's cool, or retro or anything, Kickstarters, let us know. Right now you have Hazard for the NES, which is a really, really cool game that I think was going to be part of the Premium Edition Classic series back in the day. Before that, it ended up not being possible. But Hazard is a really cool platformer game that's up on Kickstarter, made with NES Maker, I'm pretty sure. Then you have Kirito, the game, which is an awesome-looking beat-em-up for the Sega Genesis. Physical for the Sega Genesis, which is badass. The Kirito game looks like something that you would see out of, like, I don't know, like you see from Red Watermelon Team or something. Like, classics. Yeah. That Barking of the Dog's probably my wife finally getting home. That's good. Then you have a Switch game Last World's Crossed Souls, which is, I think it's about 3 or 4 days from getting funded, not fully funded yet, but does have a physical for Switch and PlayStation on it. Looks like a badass game and set in the fantasy setting for it.
Yeah.
So that one. There's one that's called Do You Like for the Game Boy. Looks like a psychological horror game or something.
Like,
Yeah. And now with the Game Boy, like there's a huge homebrew scene in the Game Boy. It's just as big as the NES homebrew scene. But with the fact that the Chromatic is now out and got the analog pocket, you can play these natively on a portable. So definitely worth getting some cool looking homebrew for the Game Boy. So do you like with a question mark? Well, that's one of them. There is a new game book out there. It's called Beat 'em Up. Guide to Beat 'em Ups. Up on Kickstarter right now. Looks really, really dope. I think that the layout work in it looks pretty impressive. So that's one definitely to check out. And then there's this, I wrote in the notes, it says, talk about this campaign. It looks crazy. I am going to open it. Oh, crappus.
Yeah, by the way, Kirito looks amazing.
Oh, yeah, like...
It's a side-scrolling beat 'em up in the vein of like Streets of Rage and Paprium.
Dude, looks so good.
It's really
cool. So the Link one, I am waiting for it to load, but it's like 8, 9.
I got it right now. Oh my god,
physical.
Oh yeah, this is the one you mentioned.
Yeah, so this is called New N64, Game Boy, NES, and Unity games from GGS. Guardian Games Studios. Or Studio, my bad, Studio. And there are N64 games, there are Game Boy games, there are tons and tons of physicals on here. There's one called Jab This, which is for the Game Boy. It's called You Fail at Life. Like, these all like have like a fun little funny look to them. There's the Diabetor. You know that one.
Yeah, I actually have a physical copy of that one.
So that is the same company, apparently.
That's funny.
Diabetor and the Sugar Monsters. Now there's a Wingsley's Guardian homebrew. Apparently he has figured out how to put them on N64 cartridge or make N64 ports. There's also a mystery Game Boy Color game with an N64 port that's coming out that he's not even going to tell you. Put a question mark on it. Then there is a NES game called Bloodshed, the 5 Clans of Ibarra. Literally.
Where? No.
The 5 Clans of Ibarra.
Yeah.
Tresabara. Like, are you kidding me? Like, do they?
I'm suing.
I think it just means that you need to back it. I don't know.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's meant to be.
It definitely looks very rudimentary from the graphics on it, but it just has the Zelda look. So maybe it was made in NES Maker or something. Since games.
5 Clans of Tresibara. That's funny.
How many clans does Tresabara have? That's the question. You got first edition copy of Tresabara. And then there's Pinball, the Interactive, which looks like a digital game, little flip book. So this guy did something that I would never recommend, which is put everything into one, because like you should just do one small Kickstarter and not a giant 8-game Kickstarter. It says 4 games and modified games, but reality is there's a shit ton of games here. There's more than 4. I already see 5. I already see 6. That's a lot, dude. And so the thing is, 43 days to go. It is about 1/3, a little bit over 1/3 funded. But he's asking for a pretty hefty amount for such a niche thing. And his games look like fun hobby games. They look like fun hobby games. So I would say, for me, I do have the Diabetor because somebody named Tresabara got it for me from Midwest Gaming Classic because there was a
the guy who actually made that game, and he was a nice guy, really nice. I mean, you're not gonna run into an a-hole like.
Yeah, but no, it's super cool though. But either way though, if that's something that interests you, getting some Game Boy homebrews and 64 homebrews, which is crazy. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, I'd never heard of that.
So, because I'm not planning to do an N64 book, and if I do, it'll be after I finish Turbo, which Genesis took me 7 years. I'm trying to not take 7 years for Turbo. And then, I mean, honestly, I'd rather do Game Boy and Game Boy Color. So, I mean, for me, like 64 is a long way off, and there's already a three good N64 books out there.
For sure.
Yeah, I don't need to. I'd rather do something that hasn't really been covered completely, which is Turbo. But that being said, that sounds cool to you. I would definitely support it. That Kickstarter needs some love. It's gonna be struggle to meet that goal, and I would love to see it hit the finish line.
Yeah.
But I think that ends it for the game collector. Is there anything else that we need to cover?
I don't think so. We covered a whole lot of stuff, and
A lot of stuff.
Like, I hope that just gives people an idea of just how much stuff they don't know. Because, like, as collectors, you're kind of in your own little niche, and sometime in like, especially if like you're only talking to the same collectors or going to the same game stores. But like, if you tune into a podcast like us, we're looking all over the place for just the weirdest crap. That's what we love. That's what we love.
That's what we're going to do. Future episodes, we're not going to go so in depth on like book projects and things, since it's now covered in this episode. So like, you know, we won't retread. We'll just do updates if a major update happens. So like when I get the damn Genesis book, believe you me, I will show that sucker off. There'll likely be a video there will be a video for Patrons too, which I got to do one for this one for Patreon exclusives too. And that being said, go on Patreon, show some love. Even if it's free, that's cool. I like to see the support and building a bigger community over there, because there's a bunch of people in there from Legacy, but they don't participate anymore because it's been dead. I haven't done it in 8 years. So like I'm so old that my Patreon's 8 years old. Like that, like it's craziness. But the key is that that's where all the stuff's gonna be. That's the cool stuff. And then I do have the one secret surprise at the end, and I'm just going to leave everyone with a cliffhanger with what it is and let you all research it and what we could potentially do in the future. And it's called, Tristan, an X tool. And I got one coming in. My wife got it for her birthday. X tool. And if you don't know what an X tool is, look it up, and we will talk about it on the next episode. We will see you there. Keep collecting.
Later, guys.